I'd like to greet all human beings all around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter whether you the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you my family, friends, or my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter whether you like me, my YouTube videos, like what I say. It doesn't matter if you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. It doesn't even matter whether you give me constructive criticism or whether you give me negative or positive comments. Doesn't matter if you light-skinned or dark-skinned. I greet all of you all with the same universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. Today happened to be Sunday, April the 19th, 2020, the time of the vision, the time for change, the time for people to wake up, to be aware, to be alive. We must stay focused. The time being 9:27 a.m. If you notice, I'm over here by the lake, by one of my favorite spots again. If you notice, we have 4 geese out here. 1 leading the pack, 2, they just passed in this tree here, and 1 in the back. In the Navy, they have a rear admiral that can see everything in the back. They have one that leads the ship. Then they have those that attend to other functions. I come today is to just say a few things for those of you that pay close attention. I want you to pay close attention to the comments that be on my YouTube videos. I made one not too long ago, yesterday. Then I made one today. And it was a message to people with, a vital message to people with common sense. See, everybody don't have common sense. Now, here it is, some of my critics. All you have to do is just keep on doing you, and it'll sooner or later come out. Mikey Jones just made a comment today, and it's almost like the comment that he made before, telling me to come back to Chicago. Mikey Jones just made a comment today, y'all, told me my children's is his family. I don't know if it's a he or she. Don't really even care. But let me show you how ignorant Mikey is and show you how much a coward he is. Now, he done told me to come back up to Chicago again today, y'all. This time he told me, he said, them kids is my family, speaking of my 2 daughters. Then he said, you didn't want nobody to have them to come in that house when we was up to Chicago for the funeral of their mother, that I didn't want them to come in the house by themselves because people was gonna question them. He said, that's why you didn't leave her in the hospital by herself. You thought that the nurses and doctors would ask questions. But let me tell y'all, I don't even have to tell y'all, but let's show Mikey how ignorant he is. Not just ignorant, but he's a coward, because if you think that I done did something wrong to one of your cousins when I was up there, or what I said about one of your cousins, hey, I don't even care, Mikey. What I care about what your cousins and some of them did to my children. See, you don't care about my children, whether you their family or not. I don't consider, even if you they blood, I don't consider you their family because you didn't protect them when they was in the streets for 70 days and 70 nights up in Chicago from the month of May to the month of July. Homeless, you wasn't up there. You see what I'm saying? You wasn't up there, Mikey, when me and my family located them and brought them back down to safety when their arm was broke. So don't tell me what you don't like about what me saying about your cousin. You know what I mean? If your cousin disrespected my children, I speaks up for him. But this what Mikey said. Mikey said when I come back up to Chicago, he gonna make that right for me, whatever I said concerning his cousin. But anyway, Mikey, you don't have to wait until I come up to Chicago. Bring your tough behind down here, Mikey, and let's see how tough you are. I just was up to Chicago, Mikey, and stayed in a hotel not too far from your cousin. You see what I'm saying? And none of y'all didn't visit him, if that's your cousin. You see, one thing about you, Mikey, and one thing about your cousin that you claim that I said something concerning, if your cousin disrespected my children, I'm gonna speak up for my children, Mikey. And let me show you how dumb you is, Mikey. My daughter, you said my daughters and them, I didn't let her stay in the hospital by herself because you know what's going on in my house. Let me tell you something, Mikey. Show you how stupid you is, how ignorant you is, how much a coward you is. All you got to do is look at the video when she made the video, Mikey, showing the hospital room, when she was moved out of the Corbett room, you stupid, ignorant Negro. If you're a Negro or whatever you is, a Negro is an ignorant individual, so you is a Negro. But if you look at that video, she made that video by herself, you ignorant fool. She was in that hospital by herself, Mikey. I just went up there like any parent. I could have stayed, but I knew she was safe from people like you and your family. You see, they wasn't safe with you and your family, Mikey, the one you talking up for, if that's your family, because your family didn't protect them when their mother ran off with them back in May. You see what I'm saying? And was in the streets with them, homeless. When your cousin, if you're talking about the same one that didn't want us in her house, when your cousin put her out of that house, then she went to the grandmother's house, the mother's house, the mother put her out of there, and she was in the streets when I found my children. Did none of y'all care about them? I came all the way from Missouri, 800 miles round trip, and my youngest daughter that just turned 2, Mikey, you coward, arm had been broke. The doctor said a minimum of 2 weeks. So what was you at, you chump? That's what I'm calling you, chump. You a coward. You a chaos starter. You don't like the fact that Leonard and Keith talking to me, do you? You don't like the fact of that. You ain't no 100% black. You a 100% coward. But I just want y'all to just take a look at his comments. You see what I'm saying? He said that if I came, when they come back up to Chicago, he gonna take care of the business for his cousin that I exposed. You see, Mikey don't like the fact me and my daughters and them was nice enough to make Mikey's, if that's his family some t-shirts, and did none of them show no appreciation. Mikey don't like the fact when my daughter was in the hospital and I called the grandmother and let her know she was in the hospital, and the oldest sister on her mother's side knew she was in the hospital, did none of them call her. That's how much Mikey care about them. Mikey, let me tell you what I feel about you, man. I feel about you, man, if you run up on me, man, that I'll take your head and sever it. That's what I care about, Mikey. You see what I'm saying? The last thing I want to do, Mikey, is take a human being life. But if you approach me like the rest of these individuals approach me, I'm going to take you out. And I'll be coming back to Chicago. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of none of your family, Mikey. You see what I'm saying? I'm coming up there. When I come in peace. But I tell you what, Mikey, if you look like you finna do something to me, I'm gonna take your life. You don't have to be getting ready to do nothing, but if you look like it. When you send threats like that, Mikey, you probably the ignorant individual that can't even write that sent that in the mail. You see what I'm saying? Using these other names. You're a coward, Mikey. You're a coward. You see, I observe my surroundings. To be aware is to be alive, Mikey. You try to live to see 62 years old, Mikey. The way you going, Mikey, I ain't even got to take you out. Somebody else will take you out. You see what I'm saying? All I got to do is keep on making my videos and you will study reveal yourself. Now you talking about what's going on in my house. Let me tell you something. Federal, state, and local police officers done had my daughters by themselves a lot of times. My daughters done been seeing psychologists because of the family that you talking about, Mikey. I got a good idea who you is now. You see what I'm saying? One thing you mad about, Mikey, is your cousin didn't get custody of my children. See, your cousin taught my children's two other brothers and their sisters to say that she's their mother and that her husband is their father and their mother, who may she rest in peace, is their auntie, and my two daughters is their their cousins. Now, that's what type of family that I keep my daughters away from, Mikey. And like I said, you said I was keeping my daughters away from other people. My daughters, if they wanted to, they could have asked me and went in that house, Mikey. They didn't go in there. You see what I'm saying? They didn't forget of 2008 when they was in the streets, living in the streets with their mother, when they've been sitting outside of crack houses, Mikey. You see what I'm saying? When they was 1 and 2 years old and other people had to protect them until I was able to come up there and get them and rescue them. You don't like that, Mikey. You want my daughters to be out in the streets selling their bodies, don't you, Mikey? You want my children to be dictated by your cousin, don't you, Mikey? The funeral home people and everybody else, even some of the other relatives, seen it really, really rude for your cousin, if that's the same one you're talking about. Didn't even let now one of the 5 children of my children's mother speak at the funeral. Didn't even let the deceased mother speak. So, Mikey, let me tell you something. Let me lower my voice. The geese telling me they ignore you. They tell me they got this here. They tell me God got this here. I'm going to leave you with this here, Mikey. Your best bet is to find somebody that's afraid to die, Mikey, or afraid to go to prison. I'm not afraid to die. And if you ever come to try to attack me, I'm not afraid to go back to prison, Mikey, because I will take your life. I won't injure you, Mikey. I will take your life. Now, that's a fact. It's not a threat, it's a fact. See, you study bringing stuff on YouTube, these comments, but let me show you. You see them geese? They ain't afraid of me, Mikey, just like I ain't afraid of you. Y'all that got good sense, don't let people like Mikey, a coward that's hiding behind a sheet, hiding behind a YouTube video and making all these threats and talking about them. My children is his cousin. If my children's your cousin, Mikey, I wouldn't let them come nowhere around you, man. If you're a female or a male. When you don't like, you get tired of what I'm saying on my video, you come on down here, Mikey. I'll lay you out in my yard and bury you, chump. Peace be still.